Hi, I'm Elly. I'm the Community Engagement Officer for Dorset, Whitehead-Ross. But I'm here today to talk to you a little bit more about my background in working with children, young people and families. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the different jobs that I've had, so the different career path that I've been on that's led me to where I am now. And go into a little bit about what some of those jobs look like, some of the things that you do. And then think about some really important points to remember when working, supporting people. And then I'll talk a bit about skills, so important skills that we need when working with supporting with children, young people and families, and different paths, different routes into the job. Okay. So I'll start thinking about my career path. So I started working in a care home when I was at school, and that was supporting people. And I really, really enjoyed working with a variety of different people, speaking to different people each day. And that's kind of what sparked my interest into wanting to go into a support role. It was from here that I did a project at school, which involved contacting some young offenders in a young offenders institute as part of coursework. And I really, really enjoyed that. And that kind of sparked my interest into wanting to maybe look at the youth justice system or criminal justice system a bit more. So I was then lucky enough to go to university and I studied criminology degree. And as part of that, I specialised in working in youth justice. So my dissertation was on the youth justice system. And I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. And from then on, that's when I wanted to get into working with young people, get into working with young people within the justice system as well. From here, I got my first job from university with the Youth Inclusion Support Panel. So that was in Dorset. That was working with young people aged 8 to 13. And what we were doing there is working with them on particular programmes to divert them away from crime. So they could have been in families where there was lots of crime happening, or they were starting to get involved in antisocial behaviour. So then we'd work with them on a one-to-one basis, and then evidence-based programs to help try and divert them away from crime. From here, then I worked as a connections person advisor. So that was in Dorset. That was between Weymouth and Poole. And that Connections isn't no longer with us, but this was a careers and youth support service for young people. My role at Connections was really varied. I got to try out lots of different things. And get some really good training. So I provided information, advice and guidance to young people in a range of different settings. So we had a drop-in that young people could come into. That was on, so issues would be like housing, relationships, health, and also careers guidance as well. I was qualified to deliver careers guidance in those sessions. I also worked within a school, so that was working one-to-one with young people who were struggling to stay in school or struggling with their behaviour, looking at how we could help keep them in school and if there was anything else happening in their lives there. And then also worked within Portland Young Offenders Institute, helping people who were due to be released come up with some plans and communicating with their Connections advisors to help them come up with a plan and find out what's out there in their local area. So work at Connections was mainly one-to-one with young people, but some group work as well. And then here we got training to mainly around communication skills, really. So supporting young people with that more structured approach around interview skills and communication skills. I then moved to Bristol, where I worked with South Gloucestershire Youth Offending Team. And this is where my role turned into more about working with families than individual young people. So I was an intensive family support worker here. And my role was to work with a small number of families, but to see them really often. So we'd go into the homes and spend a lot of time with the families, so a lot of time with the children, a lot of time with parents, really trying to figure out what the issues were, what was going well, and what were the struggles in the home, what were the individual members of the family struggling with. And these were families where there was a lot of crime involved, with the young people were kind of escalating through the youth offending team. So in here, once we'd spent time getting to know the families, we would write an in-depth assessment and then come up with a support plan with the families. So that would involve work that we were doing ourselves with the family were going to do, but also bringing lots of other agencies in to help with that support plan, so we could work as one big team with that family. Some of it was quite practical, so there were some mornings where I'd be there at 7 o'clock in the morning trying to, knock on the door, get the kids up, helping prepare healthy meals, so supporting parents with regards to getting to appointments, contacting housing, and some parenting work within that as well, and individual work with the children and young people on areas that they might be struggling with. So from here, from working with the kind of whole family support role, I was carried on working with South Gloucestershire Council, but more under working with the parenting side of things. So I started to really enjoy that. I got some more training to deliver parent groups. So that was with teenagers and also with young people. So parenting groups for the parents to help them with their skills with regards to parenting teenagers and young people. Some of this was on an individual basis and some of it was with a group of parents. Again, communication skills was the most important thing here. So helping parents to asking the right questions. So we're asking the right questions at the right time to help parents to make those changes and to identify maybe how they might want to do different things, and also identify, the good things that were happening in their lives as well. So then this is how I got into working with Whitehead-Ross. So my role before this one was delivering parenting programs to parents in conflict. So that was under the Reducing Parental Conflict program. So we did this on an individual basis, but again, using those same communication skills, we are sort of supporting parents to follow a specific program, but asking the right questions at the right time to help them to figure out, what they might want to start to think about differently and what they might like to start doing differently. So that's a summary of the main roles that I've had throughout my career with supporting young people and parents. So there are some important points I think that are key to mention when working with families and young people. It is a really rewarding job. You can see people really making that change and improving things for themselves. But it's really important to remember that it's not easy for somebody to have someone coming into their home and telling them all about the things that they're struggling with, and opening up to a complete stranger at times. So, it's really important to acknowledge that with a young person or with a family, and to be able to show compassion and to be non-judgmental. Because I guess at some point, we never know when we're going to need support in our lives as well. Another important point I think to make is that people can only change within their own remit. So it can be frustrating to come in and see where a family might need to make some changes, but actually you can't force people to change if they're not ready to change, or if they haven't got the capacity at that point to change. So that's two key things there to be mindful of. Okay, some of the skills that I needed, I've already touched on being non-judgmental, which is really important, and showing compassion to people. So mainly, quite a lot of the people that you'd go into supporting people in their homes or with young people have actually been through a really challenging and difficult experience. So being able to show compassion and understanding is a really important skill. Patience as well. So it's important to, sometimes things don't go according to plan or you have to change things. So being patient and being able to stay calm in those situations is important. Building relationships and communication skills. So you're building relationships. This could be with young children, so from really young children up to teenagers and parents and grandparents, and also all the other agencies that are working with those families and young people. And it's really important to be able to be honest and open. Quite often people have had lots of families have had lots of involvement with lots of different agencies before, so they just really appreciate somebody just being really honest, really open, and right from the start, that they can start to build up that trust with. So communication skills, again, with other agencies, this is really important, and with the families themselves, being able to listen, being able to take a step back, and yeah, being honest and open throughout the process. Quite often you can deal with people who have quite challenging behaviour. They could be under a huge amount of stress, and this can come out as aggression. So again, really important to stay calm in those situations, but looking after your own personal safety at the same time. No 2 days are the same when working with families and young people. You have different people coming in with different difficulties, and so being able to adapt to that, and you might have a plan set for the day, but actually that will go out the window if something's happened and you need to go and address something different. Safeguarding is really important to be aware of. There could be keeping an eye out for the safety of children and young people. There could be abuse in the home. People can disclose things to you, so being able to just to make sure any concerns of any sort are shared on to your line managers or whoever. So if you're working with children, young people and families, you would have some safeguard training in there. Another important point is taking care of yourself. So when you're working, supporting other people, you can give a lot of yourself to it. So it's really important to be aware of your own limitations and your own needs, and making sure that you're taking that into consideration. Being able to take care of yourself. So after a busy day, spending that time doing something nice for yourself. You can see lots of people facing lots of different situations, lots of high emotions. So it's important to use that team around you, your colleagues, and also your line managers as well, to have that relationship and build that support in. When working with families as well, it can sometimes trigger things that we might have experienced in your past, so important to be aware of those, and again use that support of a team, use that support of a line manager as well. Okay, so I think that's it for skills. So getting into working with children, young people and families, most places would expect you to have at least a year's experience and a relevant qualification. So experience-wise, you don't have to go to university. There are other avenues that you can access. Volunteering is a really good starting point. So there's lots and lots of volunteering opportunities out there. This could be helping in a youth club, a youth group, being a listening ear for a struggling family. Youth offending team often need appropriate adults to go and sit in with a young person when they've been arrested. Community service with youth offending team and probation, or mentoring. You can be a volunteer mentor for a range of different companies out there. And this all counts as your experience, so you could gather your experience through volunteering. Qualification wise, you can look at health and social care qualification, or children and young people's workforce, or sometimes if you go into volunteering, you might be able to then start looking at getting those qualifications in-house as well, so that could be your route in. And then also building your CV alongside this. We've got at Whitehead-Ross, we've got our support work in schools courses, which cover quite a few different areas that are of the skills that are needed to work with young people and families. Any additional short courses that you can get onto your CV, so motivational interviewing, solution focused interviewing, so they're like more of the communication side of skills that you might need. when working with people to support them to change. Domestic abuse courses and mental health courses, autism awareness. These are all short courses that will help build your CV. Okay, so that's me. It is a really rewarding job, and also equally important to take care of yourself along the way as well. And hopefully some of this will help to make those decisions to whether that's what you want to do or not. If you've got any questions, feel free to email me at dorsetskills@wrec.co.uk, and I'm more than happy to get back to you on any of those questions. Thank you.